gathered here today for a historic and unprecedented moment. This is a moment that has never happened. This is a first in several announcements this committee will be making over the next several weeks. And we're very excited to announce the formation of the Get Things Done Intergovernmental Roundtable. It's state, it's federal, and it's local. On the campaign trail, our mayor-elect spared few opportunities to talk about the power of convening, collaborating with all the stakeholders, and bringing local, state, and federal partners together to address all of the issues of our city. Promises made, promises kept. This is the first step to realize the promise and opportunity of making Philadelphia cleaner, greener, the cleanest, the greenest, safest big city with economic opportunity for all. You don't get that done by yourself. You get that done when you put everyone in a room together on a reoccurring basis to put the priorities of the Philadelphian citizen at the top of the list. I'm proud to stand here today to announce the Mayor-elect's Intergovernmental Roundtable that includes so many of my friends and colleagues of all state, local, and federal. We're getting it together. They're talking. This is unprecedented and historic, first of its kind. I take the pleasure now of introducing you to our mayor-elect, who's going to share her vision, her passion for making life better for everyone that lives, works, and plays in Philadelphia. Our mayor-elect, Cherelle L. Parker. Yeah.
Thank you so very much to Ryan, who is the chair of our transition committee, along with Greg and Tadella. Thank you for everything. Let me start by saying that there's a lot of people talking about some of the staff decisions that I will be making. And unfortunately, this press conference isn't that. I want to let you know that the personnel announcements will be coming soon, but not yet, and I can promise everyone here that you'll be hearing from me and my team as soon as we are ready. Thank you, Ryan, for affirming the Intergovernmental Roundtable made up of local, state, and federal leaders. Over the course of my career in public service, I've always prioritized collaboration as a tool to GTY, to get to yes. Council President Clark, wherever you are, as we were walking in, I was reminded by members of my team that the work Chairman Boyer, sales tax, homestead, delinquent property taxes, Act 89, none of that gets done without us having that intergovernmental collaboration. With that being said, building relationships that are strong enough to get things done and create the roadmap for this work group today. This is how we will deliver the results. Working together. And working together also helps us to strengthen something, quite frankly, that's missing a whole lot in politics that we don't talk about, but that's trust. Right, and you learn to trust people when you build relationships with them. And so the Intergovernmental Committee is not focused on one issue in particular, but everyone who you see standing here today, they have one thing in common. Senator Hughes, Appropriations Chairman, just said everybody here has a vote on the budget. And that's extremely important to us. You know, delivering results that people can touch, see, and feel, and not just when it's a crisis, right? But if we do this on a regular basis, and this is our standard operating procedure, it's how our muscles get stronger. and when we need all hands on deck. Assembled here today are some of the leaders who are going to make up this roundtable, and rest assured, this is the kitchen cabinet. This means that a Parker administration does not attempt to move forward with the legislative effort without it coming through this intergovernmental roundtable. This is when the federal government, state government, and local government will figure out how we can all add value. We don't care if we're talking about safety, cleanliness, greenness, or that economic opportunity for all. Chairman Boyer, you were right. I, as the mayor-elect of this city, soon to be mayor, can't get any of it done without the people who are here today. The leadership, the chair emeritus is Marion Tasco, and in memoriam, Augusta Clark. The chairman, the chief convener, the man who will lead this effort is our state Senator Vincent Hughes, and our senior advisor is, again, I would not have been able to give you that litany of successes that we were able to have during my tenure in Harrisburg had it not been for the partnership with Council President Darrell Clark, who will be our chief senior advisor. In the U.S. Senate, and you'll hear more about this, Senator Casey and Fetterman, Congress, Boyle, Evans, and Scanlon. In the state Senate, there's Tina Tartaglione, Sharif Street, Art Hayward, Jimmy Dillon, and Anthony Hardy Williams. State reps, our speaker, Joanna McClinton, our appropriations chairman, Jordan Harris, Rep Boyle, Gallagher, our Philadelphia delegation chair who could not be here today, Morgan Cephas, Donna Bullock, Danilo Burgos, Darisha Parker, Jason Dawkins, Jose Harrell, Regina Young, Steve Kinsey, and Anthony Bellman. In the city council, to my right, you see council member Senator Johnson, and I'm saying this, council member, so people will have to just put it on me. Okay, I'll shoulder this today. Our soon-to-be council president, Senator Johnson, Councilwoman Catherine Gilmore Richardson, Isaiah Thomas, Jimmy Harity, Mark Squilla, Curtis Jones, Mike Driscoll, Ketsi Lazada, Cindy Bass, and Anthony Phillips. The elected officials will be asked to work on very specific committees so that no one's tripping over each other. First, addiction, homelessness, mental and behavioral health. That's that long-term care, treatment, and housing. Then there's this term I hope you get used to hearing: affordable luxury housing. Affordable luxury. Right? Because just because you are a low to moderate income Philadelphia, that doesn't mean that you don't want quality and aesthetically appealing amenities. Workforce development, that's where the commerce, the labor, and the education comes into play. Sincere Harris is jumping for joy somewhere. Clean and green initiatives with Gilmore Richardson. Right. Okay, okay. A one-stop shop for returning citizens. I want you all to think about this, and you heard us talk about this. Because I've seen the challenge that family members have had to go through, and people in the community that I grew up in have had to go through. It's nothing like being incarcerated at the state level in particular, or federal. You come home and you're trying to get reintegrated into the neighborhood, but you have to get a Social Security card. You need the Social Security card and the birth certificate, but you need that to get the driver's license or either the non-driver's license. Then you spend hours within each of those bureaucracies, and before you know it, if you're in a halfway house, you violated, some time because it took you longer than you thought to be in the midst of that process. I haven't read that, Councilmember Johnson, in the white paper or Madam Speaker, but we know it's a real thing when we talk to people who are in our communities. We mentioned education and public safety. And with that being said, I want to introduce the chair of the Intergovernmental Roundtable, my friend, I don't know, Ryan, I think he also throughout this process assumed the Wayne Miller role because he's become my 5, 6 o'clock in the morning therapist as well. But give it up for State Senator Vincent Hughes.
Well. 5 in the morning, 6 a.m., therapy, phone calls. All right, let's get this straight, folks. One Philadelphia.
One Philadelphia.
No. One Philadelphia.
One Philadelphia.
They say, Councilman Jones, as you know, they say you got to say it 3 times for it to sink in. One Philadelphia.
One Philadelphia.
Look at this gathering. Look at this gathering. People from all over the city of Philadelphia, from all communities, coming together in a unified fashion to make sure that we are successful. And the thing that I think I've heard more from everyone in every part of the city of Philadelphia is they want this mayor to be successful. They want this mayor to be successful, whether it's people on the street, whether it's people in the boardroom, people in the corporate conversation. They want this mayor to be successful. And it is our responsibility to help make that happen. Collectively, one team working for one Philadelphia on one mission. I want to make sure I get this right. Safer, cleaner, greener, with access to economic opportunity for all. For all. No one gets left out. So, Madam Mayor, thank you very much. Madam Mayor-elect, thank you very much for this responsibility. And I know the appropriate staffing support will come along to help to make this happen as well, right? Okay, all right. Different than all other mayors preceding her. Different than all of the mayors preceding her. Our mayor-elect has had responsibility in service and in actual work at various levels of government. She served in Harrisburg. She knows the rhythm of Harrisburg. She knows the players in Harrisburg. She knows the policies in Harrisburg. That's one of the key reasons why we came out early for her, because no city, not just in the state, Madam Speaker, I know you know this, but all across the country, no city can be successful without a great relationship with its state. She knows that. She understands that. She accepts that. And the creation of this organization is a reflection of her knowledge of that process and of that reality. So we're one Philadelphia. We're working together. And it's interesting because even without this leadership, even without this organization being in place, this city and all of its players, all of its elected officials have demonstrated success. In the heart of in the depths of the COVID pandemic, this legislature, these folks up here from Harrisburg, work with the city and work with their federal partners to create the Small Business Grant Program. Some of you will remember that. Over $300 million of federal money, Jordan, you remember those Zoom meetings we were on, all right? $300 million of federal money coming to Harrisburg, negotiated in Harrisburg with input from the city, and therefore drove out well over $300 million to neighborhood-based small businesses as grants, not loans, federal, state, and local. And over 54% Representative Bullock, 54% of those dollars went to historically disadvantaged businesses, businesses who never had an opportunity to get access to funds. That's all of us working together. Without this organization in place, needless to say, and I hope our friends from Allegheny County aren't paying attention, if you look at the low-income housing tax credit program, which has produced thousands of affordable housing units for seniors and women escaping domestic violence and all kinds of individuals, those federal tax credits coming to the state with partnership with our city has secured extreme benefits to the city of Philadelphia in thousands of units being constructed. And I'm not going to say that we got more than our fair share, but we did pretty damn well in that process. But why not take advantage of the moment? Why not take advantage of the moment? We have a speaker from Philadelphia. We have the we have a majority chairman of the House Appropriations Committee from Philadelphia. You got me. But you have a president who's checked in and says he wants this mayor to be successful. You have a vice president who's checked in and said she wants this mayor to be successful. You have 2 U.S. senators who know that Pennsylvania cannot be successful without a successful Philadelphia. And our entire congressional delegation is championing this effort. All of us coming together, utilizing all the talents, all the expertise, all of the history, but all the vision to work with our mayor to have, I'm going to clean it up again, because I want to make sure I get it right, the best and the safest, the cleanest, the greenest, with all access to economic opportunity for all. Sincerely, one Philadelphia. One Philadelphia. One Philadelphia. Because in the end, it's teamwork that makes the dream work. Teamwork that makes the dream work. Now, I believe I'm supposed to introduce the council president, soon to be, who gave me a lot of grief coming in when we walked this morning. But that's my brother. Well, please welcome Councilman Johnson.
This is Hollywood Vince, if y'all have been following social media lately, but this is my guy. Let's give State Senator Vincent Hughes a round of applause for his leadership. And I just want to first and foremost thank Mayor-elect Cherelle Parker for appointing me to this Intergovernmental Roundtable as we address issues relating to the quality of life and moving the city of Philadelphia forward. But I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the senior advisor. Let's give Council President Darrell Clark a round of applause because he could be relaxing. He could have resigned mentally a long time ago and just said, listen, I'm on my way out. I have nothing else to do. But as you have seen, he has stepped up to the plate to be a mentor and also help us shepherd this particular convening to the next level. And so for me, the reason why I'm excited, right, is because this is the first time since I've been elected official to have this opportunity to come together with elected officials from the federal, city, and state level from all different parts of the city of Philadelphia, particularly with one common goal, and that's moving the city of Philadelphia forward. And I've oftentimes talked to my staff, and they would say, Councilman, with all this gun violence taking place and all these issues we're dealing with here in the city of Philadelphia, how come all of y'all just won't come together? The people want to see that. They want to see our elected officials working together. So I say hats off to Mayor-elect Cherelle Parker for saying, you know what? Let's come together, right, on a common mission and working together to move this city of Philadelphia forward. And another reason why I'm excited, right, is because the people in our neighborhoods are looking to us for leadership. And as Senator Vincent Hughes said, we're all successful within our own right. I can tout
everyone's initiative who are up here today and what they have done successful as individuals, but how many times have we come together, irregardless of what part of the city we're from, what political family we're from, and most importantly, coming up with an agenda that's going to pretty much change the quality of life of the residents here in the city of Philadelphia. And so, to Mayor-elect, I pledge my support, and most importantly, listen, it's not a me thing, it's a we thing when it comes to members of city council. So we'll be working on public policy, and also you talked about staff for the budget. We can have that conversation as well. We can have that conversation. But I am very, very excited because this is an opportunity for us to move the needle on poverty, addressing the issue of housing inequality, making sure we got quality public schools, making sure we got a cleaner city. But we can't do it alone. And I always say this, and I say this publicly, Cherelle's success is our success. Right. Cherelle's success is our success. So I want to thank you for convening, and we look forward. I'm excited to get ready to do on some work together. So let's get to work. Thank you very much. And at this time, I have the great opportunity to, it's about that black girl magic. I just have to say that, right? Because I said it, we also have not only the first woman, African-American woman mayor here in the city of Philadelphia, we also have the great opportunity for me to introduce the first woman speaker of the House, my sister, Joanna McClinton.
Thank you, Councilman Johnson. Thank you to the Madam Mayor-elect Cherelle Parker. We appreciate your leadership, we appreciate your vision, and we cannot even estimate how much you have already invested into the success of our city, and how today is just the beginning of an official partnership with this intergovernmental work. All of us who are here from the Philadelphia delegation, we live in the city of Philadelphia. Most of us have lived here for decades in the city of Philadelphia. Many of us were born in the city of Philadelphia, right. And we care about the future of our city. We don't get on 76 West, go 90, 100, depending on where you live in, 110, 115 miles, and forget about the 215. We don't get on 76 West, get to Harrisburg, and act new. We go intentionally up that highway with our neighbors, with our family members, with our mothers, our loved ones on the forefront of our agenda. And we are thrilled to stand here this morning with a mayor who is working purposefully and with intention with the Intergovernmental Affairs Committee to ensure that as we are working to better all of Pennsylvania, we are working collaboratively and with intentionality to put Philadelphia as one of the safest, cleanest, Senator Hughes, greenest cities in America with economic opportunities for all. Oh, we're working on it. And we are thrilled to be a part of this partnership. So we salute you this morning, Madam Mayor, and our hat is off to you, and our sleeves are rolled up. We are all ready to do the work. And with that, I am thrilled to introduce my sister rep, who has been working in North Philadelphia for a very long time, 8 years officially in Harrisburg, but spent many, many years before that right here in City Hall, making sure that the constituents she serves now in the 195th Legislative District have everything they need. Please welcome the chair, the majority chair of Children and Youth, Representative Donna Bullock.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And thank you to our Madam Mayor-elect Cherelle Parker. I think they decided to close this out, Councilman Johnson, with some black girl magic and had all three of us in a row. So I'm gonna just make sure I do justice to that. Many of our folks are saying, so what does this mean to them back home? What does this mean to the family in North and South Philadelphia from Point Breeze to Strawberry Mansion? What does it mean for the person that's going to work and caring for their families or organizing community cleanups or just looking out for one another from their porch steps? At its core, this Intergovernmental Roundtable's mission is to work together in a multi-jurisdictional manner to get results done for the people of our city. It's to make sure that we're not leaving 1 cent on the table when we're talking about government resources from federal, state, and local. It's to ensure that we are optimizing our collective voices to uplift the voices of our neighbors, working together so that no Philadelphian gets the short end of the sticks. It means that we are leveraging our offices so that we have a funded public transit system that reliably gets our seniors back and forth to the doctors, that is affordable and safe for our daily commutes to work and school. It means collaborating on the local, state, and federal level to fund those gun violence prevention dollars, Councilman Johnson, and to support policy and legislative initiatives, and to move those preemptive issues out of the way, Senator, to keep our communities safe. Just this past year, we saw our Commonwealth Court declare as unconstitutional the state's allocation of funds for public education. This Intergovernmental Roundtable will work together to finally bring home the resources that our young scholars and educators deserve. If we are going to build up our city and make it the safest, cleanest, greenest city with economic opportunity for all, we must do it together as a unit. That's why I was proud to be an early supporter of Cherelle Parker, because I saw her use her intergovernmental experience to deliver for everyday Philadelphians. First, when I was a city council staffer for Council President Clark, I watched her come from Harrisburg weekly and go into his office to meet with him. And then when I became a state rep, I saw her continue to do that. I witnessed this firsthand as she transitioned from the General Assembly to City Council. Her constant reminder on the campaign trail that she had this intergovernmental experience, it wasn't just a stump speech. She's a true believer and a practitioner in collaboration. I have no doubt that she will continue to do the same as our mayor, and that is why she saw fit to form this Intergovernmental Roundtable. We have a responsibility to our communities to represent and to deliver a kind of change that can be seen, touched, and felt. This roundtable, it's more than a token. It's more than a group of electeds that like to meet, and trust, we like to meet, but we're not just meeting to meet. We're not just here to see ourselves in our suits. Today, the formation of this roundtable is a pledge to those neighbors, to our neighbors, that we will do more than play nice in the sandbags. This is what government looks like when it's working for the people. This is what government working together under and with the Parker administration will look like for Philadelphians. This is what one Philly looks like. Mayor-elect, one Philly, one Philly, one Philly, a united city.
Wow. I don't ever want to mess with Donna Bullock. With that being said, let me start with what Senator Vincent Hughes, which is essential to this, and you heard Councilmember, soon-to-be President Johnson say this as well. Part of our coming together and being convened on a regular basis, it also means that our senior teams are coming together. And that is the general counsels to the crew, all the lawyers. We're going to watch the lawyers, though, because they always telling us why we can't do something. So we're going to watch the lawyers, but the lawyers have to come together. Those are also to Chairman Hughes and Chairman Harris, the people who run those budget spreadsheets. Right, all of that significant work. I just don't have a full staff that I can lend to the effort right now. If you just give me a little bit and hold on, right, we'll be able to say we have some more people that we would be able to add to that process. With that being said, we want to open this up to questions. Yes, ma'am. Lauren. So one, let me just start to say that when I began immediately after the primary, and I think I said this when I can specifically remember meeting with Madam Speaker in your office, with Chairman Harris, Leader Bradford, that it was so very hard for me to have to be silent when I read news accounts. I'm talking about on the news, Councilmember Jones, in print and on social media, because I would call Boyer and Greg Siegel and Della Clark to say, how am I going to respond to these people saying that we took the summer off because I haven't posted a picture on social media saying we've been practicing intergovernmental collaboration and laying the foundation for being able to get reacquainted with some, introduced to some new people. And so rest assured that that intergovernmental cooperation and bipartisan support is extremely essential, and we get that. Let me give you an example, Lauren, because this is important. When we announced that Kevin Bethel would be the police commissioner, we had, before we announced publicly to you, already talked to Republican leadership in Harrisburg, in both the House and the Senate. You heard the new president of the Fraternal Order of the Police. You heard me affirm that I couldn't get to everybody. So he was able to be in contact with the Municipal Police Officers Association, the state police, and all of our regional police departments to let them know that this was the announcement. Martina White, who we count on a great deal to help us get things done in Harrisburg, she and I also communicate on a regular basis. So you also need to know that I had an opportunity, Chairman Harris and I spoke, what's the group, where were we this weekend? When we were at the manufacturer. We spoke, both of us spoke at the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association. And if you were to listen to his remarks and to listen to mine, the message was clear. It's bipartisanship. Now, it's interesting that you would ask me that question about working with Republicans, because when I was running in the primary, there were some people who thought that they would weaponize my experience of working with Republicans against me when I said that is what will distinguish me amongst the crew, because I understood that I had to do it, and it wasn't about ideology on one side of the spectrum. It was about, we're going to disagree on voting rights, on guns, and on choice. And I'm going to fight you tooth and nail about that, right? All right, all the time, right? However, what can we agree on? And I have to also thank my friends at R&I, because they, through Alan Novak, T.J. Rooney, and Mary Eisenhower, they have worked extremely hard to make sure that we keep those lines of communication open. Oh no, this here are representatives here in our great city of Philadelphia. And again, State Representative Martina White and I, we communicate on a regular basis, and you rest assured she's a part of any room. Yes, yes, Purple. Mm-hmm. Because the previous administration had a lawsuit canceled to get the city to be able to dictate their own gun laws. Mm-hmm. How serious is that for you, and what would you all be doing to achieve that? Can't do that alone. I was proud to introduce a framework that came in the form of that comprehensive neighborhood safety and community policing plan. But Councilmember Kenyatta Johnson has also convened, and Councilmember, you can specifically, and he's been a leader, he along with Councilmember Jones. When you mentioned that legislation, Councilmember Jones was the one who traveled, was it Commonwealth Court? Mm-hmm. Commonwealth Court, along with Council President Clark, so that we could fight that preemption. That's been a challenge that we've constantly had, and I don't expect it to go away. But what I do want you to know is that we all have to be together to do it. And so I don't care if we're talking about addressing quality of life issues, lights on commercial quarters and blocks. I don't care if we're talking about the use of drones. Where's Council President Clark? The technology, modern technology, modern forensics, so, you know, the support for the police department in terms of the phones. If Joe Neubauer were here, he would talk about the work that the philanthropic, his foundation in particular, and they did all of this under the radar. And I would argue that we have to just do it together. If anybody ever comes to you and before you all, and I want you to hear this and say that they have the single solution.
I hear that sometimes.
And Councilmember Johnson, you want to talk about what the work that you've already done?
Well, first and foremost, we're going to partner with the work that Mayor-elect Cherelle Parker is doing, and I want to acknowledge my colleague, Councilman Curtis Jones, as well as my colleagues, particularly around the issue of gun violence. We've been working with elected officials on the federal, state, and city level, particularly as we move forward to address gun violence comprehensively. But also now I'm working in partnership with the administration, right? We'll be able to work on the mission, one mission, together to not only focusing on, as we always talk about, intervention, prevention, and enforcement, right? Making sure we're investing in our young people so they don't even pick up guns in the first place, making sure we're intervening and supporting the mothers and fathers who have lost loved ones to gun violence, but also, as our mayor-elect just recently did, focus on enforcement. By hiring one of the best and brightest soon-to-be police commissioners in the history of the city of Philadelphia to make sure from an enforcement standpoint, we're also addressing this issue comprehensively. So we'll have her back and we'll make sure that we're addressing, which I believe is one of the key issues that needs to be addressed around the issue of gun violence, but also she has a plan to address the symptoms. And we all know the symptom comes to addressing the issue of poverty.
That's right.
We see in neighborhoods where there's high poverty, what do we see? Gun violence. And for the press, I always like to say, we didn't get here overnight, and so we're not going to solve this issue overnight. And so we're not going to hold her to a different standard than we've held any other mayor in the past. We're going to give her grace and her time to address the issue, and we're going to work in partnership independently as a council body, in partnership with our executive branch to address this issue of gun violence from a comprehensive standpoint. But thank you, Purple, for the question.
No, and I appreciate that. I was out, Councilmember Johnson, and someone told me, I want you to know I'm human. You hear me a lot say that I'm not Superwoman, I can't do it by myself. But a friend of mine said to me, how does it make you feel knowing that the first homicide that occurs on January the 2nd after you've been sworn in, someone's going to empower social media to be able to say, see, what has she done? This just happened, and we told you she was the wrong person for the job. I was very diplomatic and told them thank you for sharing what their perspective is, but if I focus all of my time and attention on that, we could never focus on the results. And so that's where I'm going to focus my time and energy. Yes. So the framework that we have is safest, cleanest, greenest economic opportunity for all. I want to use let me use this as an example. One of the things we talked about on the trail, where's Councilwoman Lozada and Harriet? One of the things we talked about on the trail in response to the opioid crisis was that we needed to use a holistic approach focused on long-term care, treatment, and housing. How can we take advantage of any city-owned land, partner with medical institutions, institutions of higher learning, the courts, the building trades in order to get it done, to build a state-of-the-art campus that can help us deal with substance use disorder or addiction, homelessness, mental and behavioral health. But when you sit down and talk to the providers, and we don't engage in what I call, we know what's best for youth people policy making, when you talk to the providers, they'll tell you, what are you going to do about insurance? What are you going to do about people who need treatment, who are incarcerated at the county level? What are you going to do about this issue called involuntary commitment? What are you going to do when someone yells that you lack compassion and or empathy if you talk about requiring that someone suffering from mental and behavioral health gets access to the treatment that they need when they are not in a position, a place, and space to determine that it is what they need? Well, I can't make that decision alone. That is going to require support from our General Assembly. So it could be a rule or a regulation. It could be a legislative fix that's required. I'm thinking about United States Senator Cory Booker, who started talking about this issue long before it became a popular thing to do. You can't, so how long is the coverage, Senator Tartaglione? Will it just be the 30 days? Well, what about the person who's suffering from substance use disorder and addiction, and they can't beat it in 30 days, and they're going to need that long-term care and treatment? So that means Blue, that means AmeriHealth, that means Highmark. They've got to come to the table. So think of Business Roundtable. Business Roundtable. Then think about work groups with industries. Then think about faith-based roundtable, this roundtable, business roundtable. If they're proffering a solution, they're going to have to, especially when it requires governmental intervention, they got to come and convince the people who are here that this is what we need, especially if you're saying federal, state, or local government has to subsidize it. I can't make that decision by myself, but what I need, and this is important for you all to know, I can't function without structure. Everybody does it differently, but for me, I can't do it without a structure. A fiscal note, we're proffering something. Chairman Harris and Chairman Hughes, we got to know how much things cost and communicate that to the people of the city. I heard that on the trail. Well, your staffs are going to have to talk to the administration about how we do what you do already, because we don't do it. Well, I want to be out when we have our budget hearings in neighborhoods and continue what I did as a council person. I established something called budget briefings in town hall meetings. We got to partner with the City Council of Philadelphia, and we got to take the show on the road. And it's got to be standard operating procedure, nothing special, not a response to a crisis, but people have got to know we're going to take the budget process on the road. Can't do it without them. Thank you all. So, Lauren, last question, Lauren. Yes. Let me just state that, one, our next police commissioner will implement a comprehensive neighborhood safety and community policing plan. But one thing we won't do is we won't do the finger pointing thing, right? Because that's what people have hoped or expected that we would do. I didn't even do that on the campaign trail, although that's an easy out. I'll be very honest, to be able to say, well, that's not the administration's fault, that's somebody else. No, it doesn't work that way. What you have heard me say that I'm unapologetic about is when I think about neighborhood-based businesses, and I think about what keeps this $6.2 billion budget flowing, and I think about that general fund revenue, I'm thinking about we need to grow the economic pie. I'm thinking that neighborhoods, and with all due respect, let's just leave Center City for a second and go into the veins and neighborhoods, right? If someone is allowed to go into neighborhoods, and I always use Germantown Avenue, and if it's another spot, y'all will have to take me to it, but it's because we call it the corridor, with these black women boutique owners that all of us shop at. It's about 5 to 7 of them on that corridor. They don't own all of the buildings, but they own the businesses. If we allow people to go into those stores and steal $499 worth of merchandise without any course correction, right? Those businesses, in neighborhoods, not just Center City, but Center City deserves it as well. I met with Wawa recently, and I talked to, I'm not sure if anybody here represents both Montgomery County and Philadelphia. I want you to know I laid it down. Well, I'm happy that they're on 309 and they're on Eastern Road and they're the Pizza Hut. But I did say to them, right, that's 3. Cheltenham Avenue is my dividing line from where I live and where I grew up. 3, Ryan Boyer, brand new, built within half a mile of each other, and all of them are busy. And I'm saying, listen, if we're gonna come together and empower the tool of transparency. That's what because I'm not the public safety expert. I don't know how to be police commissioner. That's not what I do. But I do know how to empower the tool of transparency and report data so you don't need a PhD in order to understand it. So that any arrest that's made for retail theft, any quality of life arrests that are made, anything, Madam Speaker, and you've talked about this, every time we've gotten together, you always go back to your district and starts talking about your corridors and the people in those neighborhoods. As long as we let them know what we are doing that is within our power and control, that's what we have the ability to do. This group here today, these are the legislators who all have a vote. I'm not sure if everybody gets that. That means, so the big guys are here, Hughes and Harris, because they're the chairs of the Appropriations Committee, and that means that everything runs through their respective committees, but the members, everybody has a vote. And because we have a vote, we're supposed to leverage our vote for tangible resources for neighborhood. And I don't think anybody here apologize for saying that's what you're here to do. That's because that's what we're here to do, right? Thank you all so much, and thank you all. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Stand right here. I've worked with more mayors, more governors, more legislators, more council people, more Congress people than anyone. This has never been done before. This convening, this intergovernmental convening has never been done before. It is precedent setting. It goes to 2 things: the vision of this mayor and the attributes that this city offers up with key people with great knowledge in leadership positions, all designed to bring resources and make transformational change for the residents of the city of Philadelphia. And I assure you, a stronger Philadelphia is a stronger Pennsylvania.
Yes, yes.
A stronger, vibrant Philadelphia is a stronger Pennsylvania. And that's why we say, Madam Mayor, one Philadelphia.
One Philadelphia.
One Philadelphia. One Philadelphia.
Thank you, thank you. Johnson? Donna Bullock didn't need that. Thank you. Yes.